Every single day at the Madlanga Commission, it's one scandal after another. If it's not stolen money, it's drug lords. If it's not drug lords, it's bribery. But today is different. Bevan and his friends were not killed in a shootout. They were executed. Neighbors said they heard people shouting, "Get down, and where's the money?" And according to the pathologist, there were no restraint marks found on the bodies. But he also said that does not rule it out. Welcome back to this channel. As always, kindly subscribe, like, and share this video. Grab your popcorn, sit back and relax, because today's going to be a long one.
There have been consultations with him.
Captain Heath.
Captain Heath, yeah. Is that what he says?
In his statement, I think he does indicate that he does dispute that he said that.
Okay.
But he'll testify. So.
Okay. I guess, in a sense, we do get what your response would be based on your last response to.
Yeah, as I said, that's my understanding of executed.
Okay, please proceed.
It's no longer about your understanding, it's more about what's being put to you is he denies that he ever said this. What's your comment?
Well, I won't be able to dispute. If he says he didn't, that's what he's saying, but I know what he said.
Okay.
So go on?
Yes, please proceed.
While we were on the road, we had already received pictures of Bevan and the other murdered men laying on the floor, dead. Having seen the photos and the bodies laying on the floor as depicted, I was convinced that they were killed. On the 3rd of April 2023, I attended at the Phoenix Government Mortuary to identify Bevan. The post-mortem was done on the 5th of April 2023. The report was compiled on the 10th of May 2023 and I only saw it a few weeks later. I went to the flat on or about the 6th of April and I looked at the scene carefully to assess what had happened and particularly if the police reporting was correct. It became clear to me that Bevan and his friends were executed and there was no shootout. I have tried to understand what happened. From the pictures I have seen and taken and the markings on the walls and the floor in the flat, I do not believe there was a shootout. There is a video which I would refer the commission, which my nephew did based on what we believe happened.
Okay, we'll come to it.
These have been handed to the commission and I believe will form part of the panel exhibit.
No, that's fine. Just on this aspect, before we go to the photos, I want you to explain the scene as you see them. But just to put one issue aside, you say the execution as you understood it would have meant that Bevan and them would have been cable tied.
Yes.
And bound. And that's the version you have.
Yes.
All right. And I'd like us to go through to file 2.
Mr. Yautu,
When you saw the bodies, did they have cable ties on them?
No, I saw them at the mortuary. They didn't have cable ties on.
They did not?
No.
Or you did not enter the apartment?
No, we weren't allowed into the scene.
You were not allowed, okay. And what do you base your theory on? That is that they were tied.
When I was at the flat on the 6th, I spoke to neighbors. And from their responses, I could surmise that there was no shootout. And if there was no shootout, the normal procedure when you do an action like that, obviously it should be arranged by the detectives or investigators. So they've got specialized units around them. National Intervention Unit, etc., which are trained in house penetration. And their job is to make the area safe, subdue the suspects for the investigators to enter. That's their specialty. They don't do investigations. So when I interviewed neighbors, they said to me that they heard screams, well, shouting, I would say, from the police saying, "Get down, get down." They clearly heard that, "Get down, get down, get down." So I'm saying the normal procedure when they enter, that is what they would do. And then the next step, what they would do, is subdue the people either with handcuffs or cable ties. That is standard operation procedure, because that is even what they did at my house. I can vouch for that. That is the procedure. So the fact that the neighbors could say they heard them say, get down, get down, get down on numerous occasions, and they usually do it in a loud, audible voice to strike fear into somebody. And furthermore, there were other neighbors that said they heard some policemen saying, where's the money, on numerous occasions in a loud voice, where's the money?
So the tying is mere surmise on your...
Yes.
All right, you've answered me, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think just to follow up from the chair, just to clarify, is it correct that you didn't see them at the date that they were shot?
No, I did not.
And you didn't see any evidence, direct evidence that they were cable tied?
No, I didn't see any direct.
Or any of them. And on your basis to say that they were cable tied is on the basis of is hearsay and what you would expect.
Okay, let me just backtrack a bit when you say I didn't see. Why I also suspected that they're cable tied, because the pictures that were sent out of the deceased, I saw that there were marks on, and from the pictures, on, especially Chase's hands, were red marks around his wrist, and there were like marks around Bevan's arm as well. So, based on what I know of the procedure, and the fact that, in my opinion, they were alive, there was no shootout, they would have been cable tied. So that led me, confirmed what I was thinking, based on the operation of these guys.
Okay, thanks. Can I request that we go to file 2? Page 833.
Sorry, which page?
Let's start at page 824.
824. Please, sorry. Or say, as long as there are no pictures.
So this is an autopsy report on Mr. Bevan Anthony Loftus, right?
Yes.
And this report you provided
to the commission?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you took photos of it, I would see.
Yes.
The pages.
Yes.
Okay. And can we take it as accurate of what at least you saw?
Yes.
Okay. If we take to just
Yes.
it's written, there is no evidence or suggestion of any restraint type injury to the wrist. Now, you would dispute that based on...
From what I saw in the pictures and what I understood of the events that took place, I could dispute it. But this guy, this pathologist is a private pathologist which we hired specifically to see whether there were restraints or not. That's why we actually hired him to observe, to monitor and observe them, and to do the report for the post-mortem.
I'm not following your answer. Are you saying you dispute this conclusion?
I cannot dispute it because he's a professional.
Okay.
I cannot.
You say this is your own pathologist in the sense that the pathologist was engaged by you.
Yes.
All right. There's one of the deceased that you mentioned by name specifically, and you said you saw marks on the wrists. What was the name again?
His name was Chase Finn.
Chase. Are you able to take us to a similar document, Chase?
Of a similar autopsy? No, I don't have a similar autopsy report.
All right.
There's post-mortem reports, but they'll go through them.
Okay.
Normally they just record the bullet wounds.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, can I make a comment?
Yes.
Okay, I was at the mortuary on the date of the post-mortem. So when the pathologist came out, because I said to him, you must focus on that and see if there was restraints. He said to me, there was no evidence of it, but he says it doesn't rule it out. He told me that verbally. Of course, the report came at a later stage.
Sure. But obviously we have to accept what the report.
Yes, but I accept what he's saying.
Yeah, okay. Chair, I see it's just after 1. Can I request that we take the adjournment, lunch adjournment?
Under the Communications Act for being in possession of a Chinese-manufactured two-way radio, which the drivers of the tow trucks used to communicate. The radio was handed to Warrant Officer Naika by a white male, which I later established to be a private security that was working with the Hawks, but was employed by fidelity guards. He said he found the two-way radio on me. Whilst in custody at the Brighton Beach Police Station on February the 5th, 2023, I was visited by a female police officer by the name of Captain Elepen, who was the duty officer at Brighton Beach SAPS. We had a discussion about the alleged shooting, and she informed me that no shooting occurred at the Bluff Meat Supply on the 3rd of February 2023. She further told me that as the duty officer, she would have had to be called out to attend the shooting scene, and none of the members knew about any shooting that had taken place. She acknowledged that no forensic teams, fingerprint experts or photographers were called out to the alleged shooting scene. I spoke to policemen and detectives, and they all have no knowledge of any shooting. I spoke to, I don't know if I should say that name. I spoke to Anesh Balraj, who was standing for elections to be the Brighton Beach Community Policing Forum chairperson. He is also involved in the security industry in the area about the shooting, and he acknowledged that no shooting took place. Further, Captain Bevan of Durban Metro also confirmed that no shooting took place. Captain Wali allegedly filed a report of the shooting. In my view, the circumstances clearly show that his report was false. Clearly, the intention was to implicate Bevan so that they could get him. I appeared at court on the 6th of February 2023 and was remanded in custody for 7 days pending a formal bail application. I was granted bail after 7 days in custody at the Westfield prison. On Wednesday, the 8th of February 2023, whilst in the court group waiting to appear for bail application, my attorney Bert Lang, Captain Dina Governor and Warrant Officer Silvanadi came down to the cells, and in a discussion, Captain Governor said he wanted Bevan to come into his office so he can take him to the SVP to take a warning statement. I asked him which case was it for, and he said for a drive-by shooting of David and Marlon near the stadium. I asked him how did he come to the conclusion that Bevan was involved, and he didn't answer. My attorney then told them that the family was concerned about the safety of Bevan, as the allegations were that the police wanted to kill him, which he denied. My attorney Bert Lang acted as a High Court judge from the beginning of March 2023, which delayed the matter. He returned to practice on the 27th of March 2023, and it was thereafter that he continued to apply for an interdict against Captain Dina and the SAPs to protect Bevan and return the CCTV hard drive, which the police had removed. The interdict application was issued on Friday the 31st of March 2023. Whilst we were finalizing the interdict application on Friday the 31st of March 2023 at Mr. Lang's office, I spoke to Bevan telephonically and told him to come home.
Who called whom?
Just let me read that again, Commissioner. Whilst we were finalizing the interdict application on the 31st of March at Mr. Lang's office, I spoke to Bevan telephonically, and I told him to come home. Okay, who phoned whom?
Yeah.
On the day, we were signing the affidavit for the application, and we also had made statements with regard to Bevan having been at home on that day, that he didn't leave the premises and he didn't go to the Bluff Meat Supply. We were indicating that was a false allegation. So we went to sign those statements as well. So in that instance, Michigan Hippolyte and Chase Finn were at the office as well to sign the statement. So my daughter-in-law was on the phone. I don't know if Bevan phoned her or he phoned her or she phoned him. But then the phone was handed to him and I spoke to him. Yeah. So yes, that's when I told him to come home.
Thank you.
The police would wait a year and a couple of months
before they want to arrest a suspect?
Not at all. I'll say why. Because when you receive a docket within 48 hours, if I'm not mistaken, it's long since I've been in the police, you have an inspection on progress made by the new dockets you receive. So your commander will actually make instructions before you receive the docket, because he'll read through the docket and he'll see if there's any evidence, and he'll make instructions to execute an arrest.
But even the investigating officers at the original police station, if they had obtained this statement in December 2021, one would expect that they would call him in or they would arrest him.
Correct.
Because there's a witness that says he's the one who fired a weapon at me. So it wouldn't make sense that for the whole of 2022 nothing happens, and in February 2023 he still has not been arrested.
That's correct. I find it strange because based on the witness statement and the complaint, he should have been arrested.
And this is an eyewitness account.
Yes.
The witness says, I saw him pull a firearm and fire shots.
Correct. He should have been arrested immediately or asked to come in.
Or questioned about the
Question about him. And if there's any doubt to the authenticity of the witness statement, at least take a warning statement and discuss it with the SPP.
Can I suggest another possibility? You have testified to your daughter-in-law laying complaints with the police, and those were not investigated, and you say because the police are said to have said we've got much more serious things to deal with, that at least in the realm of possibilities, that may well be the explanation how this was dealt with as well. In the realm of possibilities, that you have an A1 and that's all you have in the docket, that some police officer may well have decided we have much more concrete cases even against Bevan, if you like, that we are going to deal with. This didn't become a priority, just a possibility. Would you accept that?
I wouldn't accept that.
Yes.
Because like I say, you have your initial inspection, then you have your monthly inspection, where your dockets are perused by your commander. And he will question why the work has not been done and make further instructions. Furthermore, every month or two, I don't know what's their program like, you have what you call a suspect raid, where the whole branch of everybody in the detectives will round up and they'll go out and arrest outstanding suspects. Because they have to satisfy what you call the SFA 6. Because commanders have to account for productivity of their members. So
isn't that also true then for your daughter-in-law's case? I'm just trying to see, and I'm not saying there's a logical explanation for it. I'm just, from your earlier evidence about how your complaints to the police have been dealt with, and I must say, I think the public will agree that we hear those kind of stories every day. Your neighbor has got a similar story that I've been to the police and nothing's happening with my case. So I'm asking from that point that you have the experience about your own cases, your family cases, that are not being investigated. You have an explanation for why they are not investigated, and I'm suggesting that perhaps this is one of them where nothing is done because the investigating officer, even the one that does the inspection, if they did Melissa's inspection, docket inspection, you would still ask the question, why did the inspector not raise any issues about no progress in the matter? Similarly here.
I would say, Commissioner, with the iPad matters, I think they focus, I believe that they do focus priority on the serious matters. And being assault common, which was the charge, I believe that's why there wasn't too much focus on that. But in this instance, this is a serious matter, an attempted murder. And this should have been attended to. Because as a detective, that's what I've done at times. When you overburden with dockets, you tend to focus more on the serious matters. So I believe that IPAD focuses priority on the serious matters, because that's what the investigator said to her.
Thank you.
But I just want to make another comment, if I may. On that very same statement on page 868,